As we come to the end of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, our commitment does not end here. We will continue to expose to help others heal and to educate so that we can be a part of stopping sexual assault. And if you follow my journey, you know that my primary perpetrator was a family member. And over time, I've come to understand something deeply sobering. I am not alone. Abuse does not always come from strangers. For many, it comes from those who were trusted family members, caregivers, and even those closest to us. And while that truth is painful, it is also why our voices matter. We may have been victimized, but we do not have to remain victims. We are not responsible for what happened to us, but we are responsible for our healing. That is the heart of Beautifully Reconstructed, to rebuild from the foundation of pain and trauma and be restored into the identity God originally ordained. And it is our mission to help others do the same. So we will continue to talk so that healing can take place and we can live and thrive in who God has called us to be.
My past does not define me. Its purpose was to refine me. God, He took my broken pieces to transform and renew me. Now I'm beautifully reconstructed. Beautifully reconstructed. I'm beautifully reconstructed. Beautifully reconstructed. I am. Let's talk. Let's heal. Let's live.
Great morning. I am Michelle Patrice Wade, host of Beautifully Reconstructed. We are the ministry where we believe that God can take the brokenness of your past to beautifully reconstruct you and launch you into your divine destiny. If you know anything about Beautifully Reconstructed, the foundation of the ministry is from my personal testimony. And that personal testimony includes being molested at a young age. And so this month in April, sexual assault awareness is near and dear to my heart because not only do we want to share our journey, we're sharing our journey so that we can make a difference to bring awareness so that others can be know what to look for, that they know to speak up when they've been violated or even if someone is trying to violate them. So today, as my guest joins me, I pray that you would take note of everything that is being said so that you can carry it with you. You can see the healing process and you can know what to look for as we discuss her journey. So if you would help me welcome Tawanda Wilson. Tawanda, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's definitely an honor.
Thank you.
Definitely an honor. If you would just share a little bit about who Tawanda is.
Sure. So I'm Tawanda Wilson. I am from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm married. I have 3 kids and a bonus, but that's my baby as well, and 2 grandkids. And a lot of people are like, grandkids? I was like,
I was about to say, I didn't know that.
yeah. So yeah, I have 2 grandkids too as well. And so that's me, a mama and a grandmama and a wife.
Mama, grandma, no wife. Yes, and so much more.
It's so much. Yes.
Because as we will find out, you're also an author and a motivational speaker. And
Yes.
yeah, so there's so much to Tawanda.
It
So,
is a lot to Tawanda.
as I share with the audience, this month in April is Sexual Assault Awareness. And of course, as I stated, this is near and dear to my heart because of my personal journey. But today, I want you to share your journey with us. And I know that not only your journey, but your now, where you are, where that journey led you to, and how God is using it to help others. So let's start from the beginning, if you would.
Sure. So Tawanda Renee Thorne. That's what I was born.
Yeah.
Grew up in a single family home. It was just me and my mom. Never had my father in my life. Like you know, a lot of people, but a lot of people grew up in single family homes as well. But I always wanted my father in my life. Um, and I always wanted to know who that person was. Um, I knew that side of the family. I just didn't know much about him. And I wanted to get to know him. So as time went on and I grew up, I wanted to, you know, reach out to him. I wanted to, you know, get to know him. So at the age of 13, we connected. He didn't live in the state of South Carolina. He moved away. And um, as we grew closer, the question was, you know, when are you gonna come and visit me?
Yeah.
And so of course, me being young, I had to think about that thing, and I was like, I don't know if I want to, you know, go away to an unfamiliar place because I wasn't, you know, I'd never been away from home, and if I traveled, it was with family, so I didn't want to leave my mom or anything like that, and so, um, after discussing it with my mom, she was like, "Yeah, it's okay, you know, go visit. You know, he's married, you know, living that good life." So I thought. And so we made plans and arrangements for me to come where he was living. And I wanted that that connection because as growing up as a little girl, you know, you wanted that father-daughter dance. You always thought about your father walking you down the aisle when you get married. And so I wanted that. That's what I wanted. But growing up, I didn't get to experience the father-daughter dance. So my next thing was, well, maybe when I get older and get married, he can walk me down the aisle. So I was excited about that, being able to, you know, get to know him, go and visit him. We build this bond, you know, a connection and all of that good stuff. So I went, we made plans. I went to his home, and, you know, a couple of days being there, he sexually abused me at the age of 13. And it's something that I suppressed for 30 years. I suppressed that. And a lot of people was like, girl, how you, you know, how do you go and not, you know, say anything to anyone about that? But when you in the midst of being sexually abused, when you are physically abused and verbally abused all at the same time, you don't know what else to do but keep quiet. So while I'm there, you know, it continues to happen. But then I start, you know, begging, take me home. I want to go home. I'm ready to go home. I'm calling my mom, and she's like, you know, you've only been there for a couple of weeks, you know. I thought you were gonna stay longer because it's supposed to be a summer thing.
Yes.
And I was like, no, I'm ready to come home. And she didn't know why. I just, you know, I was begging, let me go home. And finally, I get home. And when I pull up in the driveway, my mom, she met me on the porch. I ran to my mom and I just fell in her arms. She didn't know why. I just, you know, I fell in her arms, and that was the beginning of Tawanda being silenced for 30 years. And I finally was able to tell my mom, but going forward, I didn't want to pursue the prosecution process. I just couldn't gather myself to continue to relive that thing over and over and over again. And so when we started the prosecution process, you know, you have to go through all the questions and all of that stuff. And I was like, you know what?
It's almost like you're the perpetrator.
Yeah. So I'm like, I stopped it. So I live my life. I live my life as a normal teenager. Yeah, I had my first child, got pregnant at 16, had my first child at 17, had another child at 21. But then I was like, you know what? It's got to be something better. I cannot continue doing this. It's got to be something better. And I was introduced to the church that I attend now, which is Rock of Ages Baptist Church. Shout out, Pastor Terry King. I always give him a shout out because he actually helped me through this process. But the church that I attend now is what kept me grounded. Even though I was silenced for 30 years, my church family, and not just my church family, but my family as well. But my church family, they helped me. You know, they say it take a village.
Yes.
And they say that with a lot of kids, but I think as adults too, you need a village of people surrounding you, just so you know that'll keep you grounded, going through whatever you have experienced. And so, me going to church and being connected with those people there, I think that's what actually helped me. Although I was silenced, and although the thought and all of that stuff kept coming up, it never broke me down. And when I joined Rock of Ages, I always give this lady a shout out as well. Her name is Jane Watts. She took me by my hand. She led me through the plan of salvation, and she spoke life into me. And I think that's the moment I knew that not only did my family love me, but I had other people that love me as well. And so, me being in church, and you know, I joined the dance ministry. I can't dance, so yeah. But Miss Watts and her sister, they were over the ministry, and they never turned anybody away. They couldn't dance or anything. They just helped us continue to, you know, get our moves right and all that good stuff. And so, when the church doors was open, I was there, and I knew, you know, I wanted something more out of life. I didn't want to continue to go out. I didn't want to continue to hang around the people that I was hanging with. Although I never smoked, I never drank, you know, I never did none of that stuff. We dip and dab into it, but I never went far into it. And so, I said, God, it's got to be more out of life than just continue to have kids with men that you know, you get me. And so, I said, one day I'm going to meet the person. I'm going to meet that person. I'm going to be married by, I had my ages down, everything. I'm going to be married by 28. It was just everything. I said, I'm going to have a house. It was a lot of stuff I had spoke for myself. And I met my husband, who's here with me today. I met my husband, and I knew he was the one when he started being involved with my two kids. He had an older daughter himself, and everybody just kind of bonded and gelled together. And I was like, God, is this the one? You know, and so he would help me out. I never had that. He would help me out. He would pick my kids up from school. My son, he attended to, they would go eat at his parents' house. They would come back with plates. So I'm like, what about me? You know, y'all left me out. But it was okay, you know, because I was like, he tended to my kids. He, you know, he helping me, he taking care, helping with the homework. So I said, this probably is the one. So I'm living my life. And I'm thinking everything is good. I have the family, and then I get pregnant again, have another son, and I'm like, God, I got everything that I asked for. I'm married, I have the kids, I have the house, but I knew there was something I still was not dealing with. And as time went on, you know, I'm still living in. About 2 years ago, God started dealing with me and this elephant that was in the room. I kept having altercations with people, and I'm like, God, where is this coming from? You know, why am I running into these brick walls with people? Like, it's no way I would continue to have this going on and I got this over here going on, but I got this over here as well. And I'm like, where's all of this coming from? And finally, I sat down with my pastor and I'm telling him what's going on with me, and I'm like, I need help. I called out. I said, God, I need help because we talk about mental health, but we never know that it's really real until you get a taste of it. And I definitely got a taste of mental health around that time. And I knew I was going into that stage of it. So,
And when I sorry to interrupt, but even when you talk about that, you had suppressed that for so long. Even when we don't talk about it, it doesn't make it disappear.
right.
And so I want to ask you before you continue, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that process because I know at this point it seems like you had only shared this with your mother previously. So, and then of course you went through the court system, but I'm not sure, was his family involved? Was your family involved in the process?
So my family did know, but only like a few people knew.
Okay.
A few of his family members knew. But once I silenced, everybody got silent. So it's just, and not that I wanted to sweep it under the rug or anything. I just didn't want to deal with it. And I think a lot of people out here now are like that. They just don't want to deal with the situation. But I think not dealing with it is where the depression comes in at, the mental health, that comes in. You just start dealing with a whole lot of stuff. And I definitely suffer from migraines until I got this off my shoulder. And I knew that it was something that needed to be done. God, he was dealing with me on this thing. I sat down with my pastor, told him what was going on with me, and I needed help. And he was like, Tawanda, I'm not trying to turn you away from anything. He was like, I can give you the spiritual side, but when it comes to other stuff that you may need, I think a therapist is a good thing. And I knew I wanted to go sit down with a therapist and listen. I don't knock it at all.
Absolutely.
Like I tell people all the time, I believe in God, but I also believe in a therapist. We get our strength and our motivation and all that good stuff. God gives that to us. But when it comes to other stuff, I think a therapist is really, really good. They can give you the tools that you need. Of course, you have to be willing to do the work. And I think a lot of people are afraid of going to therapy because we know that the therapists get to the root of the problem. And a lot of people are scared of the root of the problem. And but me, I wasn't. I wasn't scared of the root. I was ready for the help. I needed help and I was ready for that. And so talking to my pastor, he just kept looking at me and he was like, I'm so amazed at how you got through what you've been through. He was like, this needs to be a book. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start at when it comes to a book. And he was like, do you journal? And I was like, not really, but I can start. He was like, well, what you need to do is just start writing down your thoughts. Just start with your story and then start writing down your thoughts and, what you're thinking. And you can put it in a book. So that's what I did. I started writing and so I'm sitting down and I'm thinking and I'm like, God, I really do want to help other people because I dabbled and dabbled in a lot of network marketing things, but it just really wasn't my passion. I wanted to help people. I wanted to see people get healthy. I just didn't know what kind of way. And so I was sitting one day and I was like, God, what can I put on a t-shirt? Like it just kept going through my mind, like, what can I put on a t-shirt that would reach people? I want this t-shirt to be across the world. Now, it's supposed to be a t-shirt. Not my mouth going across the world, right? But a t-shirt to reach the, to reach people. And so I said, what can I put on a t-shirt that would reach other people and get their attention? And so God never gave it to me at first, but it was when I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking and I was just writing stuff down. And out of nowhere it said, speak up and speak out. And I was like, okay, that's real cool. Like, I like that. Speak up and speak out. He was like, but you gotta be transparent with yourself. Like you gotta tell your story. You gotta, cause people, you put it on a t-shirt, people gonna ask you, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, so what are you gonna do? You gotta be transparent with your, like me and him having this tussle, right? We having a conversation. We tussling back and forth, and I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to open my mouth. And he was like, you asked. So I'm telling you what you need to do. You want to help people.
Yes.
The only way to do that is to be transparent and you got to tell your story. So that's how Speak Up and Speak Out came about. It was supposed to be a t-shirt.
I'm laughing because I'm laughing with you because we share that in common. That's exactly what Beautifully Reconstructed was supposed to be, a t-shirt. And we had those same type of conversation because I was like, Lord, my business is my business. We don't share my business.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going out here telling nobody what Speak Up and Speak Out means. But I mean, transparency, that's what people like.
Transparency.
They want you to be authentic. Yeah. So
and it helps them identify with their own journey.
Right.
There's so many people who, like yourself, who waited 30 years or even more to, deal with what actually happened to them in their youth or even, at a younger age. And, one of the things that I've found in this process is that, even especially the older generation, they were from that generation, especially because it still exists, but not so much so because this new generation, they're gonna tell you. But back then it was, what goes on the house stays in the house. We're so familiar with that cliche and that statement. And so even those who shared their truth, they were made to feel as if they should be shamed versus, the perpetrator and, are told that they were not telling the truth. And so they had to carry this, even when the truth was evident. And so there's so many people who deal with this, even when you look at statistics, it's just ridiculous how many people who have dealt with sexual assault. And even with your story from your father, for the longest time, I thought that sexual assault was isolated to me. I didn't know that, family members, yeah, I didn't think that existed, right? And even now, just even learning, like with your story, that it even happens with parents assaulting their children, which I could never fathom.
Yeah. And I still have questions in the back of my, mind, as to why. And I mean, I do want those questions answered, but my therapist, she was like, Tawanda, we understand that, you want to know why. But she said, let's just be honest. What if you had a conversation and you ask that question and you don't get the answer that you're looking for? Then where will you be? Will you continue to move forward, or is it gonna set you back? And so I had to think about that too. So, I still have the questions, and it's almost like I still want to have a conversation, but then at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to get set back either because I've moved, so far ahead, and I'm getting to the place where, I want to go back and find that little girl, that 13-year-old little girl, and just let her know that she's okay now, and that's what I'm working on now. And I don't want any of that to be broken at all. So, yeah.
In the past, had you confronted your father?
I have not. I have not spoken to him since that happened. So 30 plus years, I have not. I have not spoken to him. And I really don't know if I'm even ready for that yet. I want to get to the place where I want to forgive. And a lot of people have asked me, have I gotten to that point? And I'm just keeping it real with people, you know. Um, and I know the forgiveness is not for him, it's for me. And so that's the place that I'm at now. That's what I'm working on. Because forgiveness goes a long way. And it's not just for him, it's a lot of people really that I've ran into, you know. Um, it may not be my fault, but I know that, you know, God is telling me, you know, it's time to move forward. You know, if you want to get further, there's some forgiveness that has to take place. Um, and it's crazy because that word just keeps getting thrown up at me in a lot. And it could be a TV show, a talk show, or anything, and I hear that word forgiveness, and I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I know what you're telling me. And so that's what I've been working on. That's what I've been working
I don't know if this will help you, but it did help me to humanize him.
on.
Um, Not that it will ever excuse what happened.
Mhm.
However, I believe that God is calling us to be transparent because we're trying to break generational curses. And in a lot of homes, that happen over and over from generation to generation. And so I often question what happened to, unfortunately in my case, them. And in one instance, I was led to the answer that it did happen to them from the same person who, one of the individuals who violated me.
Mhm.
And so, again, it doesn't excuse your behavior.
Right.
However, it does allow me to humanize and say, okay, well, what happened to you that you thought that it was okay for it
Mhm.
to act in such a manner that was so violating to my innocence.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's one thing too that I've, you know, questioned myself as well. Like, what I'm wondering what happened to him,
Mhm.
you know, growing up for him to want to do that, you know, and I, you know, I never imagined that anybody would want to do that to like the person that they birthed. But, you know, it happens.
Mhm.
And, you know, I even question God sometimes, you know, like, why me?
Mhm.
But this is why. This is why.
This is all.
Um, right now, to be able to help other people and let them know that, you know, it's you can speak up about it and not be afraid to do that. You know, I know it took me 30 years to do that, but now I'm stronger and nobody can hurt me. You know, I'm speaking my truth. And it's no better way to speak your truth than you know, you telling your story. Nobody can tell it for you. It's your truth, and it doesn't matter who gets angry about it. Um, and it was only a couple of people when I, you know, wanted to come out with this. I only had a conversation with a few people. That was my husband, my children, and my mom. That's all that mattered. Because I wanted to make sure that they were okay with me being out front,
Yeah.
telling the story. And when I got the okay from them and that they were fine with it, nobody else mattered.
Absolutely.
So if you're mad about it, it's okay. This is my story, and I'm gonna continue to speak up and speak out about it. And it's you know from silence to strength, and when I say that, it's because I was silenced for 30 years, but now I'm stronger. You know, I'm stronger now, and so whoever's mad, they can be mad. It's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay.
And would you say that those is it people who wanting to keep you silenced because of the fact that they don't want their family name to be distorted or
Yeah, could be, but you know, it's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
I still talk to that side. Like I have aunts and cousins that I speak with. Um, but I don't know if they, were mad or anything like that. I don't know if any, even on my side, I don't know if any family members were, upset about me, coming out with the story. But everybody has been so supportive on my side. So, um, it's okay.
Okay, so
And what one thing that I found out too is that going through this, and when I came out with my story, I found out I wasn't alone, and that's what made me feel better because I'm like, I never would have imagined. I mean, when I posted this on Facebook, because I posted it with my book, um, and when I posted this on Facebook, and told my story, man, I had so many people in my inbox just talking and telling me. And I think it just takes one person to tell their story, and then it a lot of other people will, tell theirs. So my prayer is that Speak Up and Speak Out um will help other people. It's a nonprofit organization now. And so that's my prayer, is that Speak Up and Speak Out can reach, as many people as it can, to be able to show others that, you don't have to be afraid. If you need somebody to help you, I'm that person. I'm not afraid. So I'm that person. And I stand 10 toes with you if you need me to. So, yeah.
yes. Knowing that you have someone oftentimes to help you through the process, and like you said, you would have never imagined that others shared a similar testimony as you. And so, and that's what the enemy does. He'll isolate us and make us feel as if you're the only one. And then we keep silent, and then we hold it in. And then we, I have this, I started, we have the saying, actions speak louder than words. Um, that's not what I said. That is one thing, but it's not what I'm, the, that when we are, when we're silent, right? Basically, we are, keeping silent, and because we don't want to share what has happened to us. And but basically, you you can speak with your words, because oftentimes those who have been violated, their life choices actually speak of the violation. Oftentimes you have individuals who are promiscuous. We may have children earlier than others may have. And that's not the only reason. However, these are some of the things that have a pattern with those who, if you go and you would ask a young lady, if that actually is their truth, then you will find out oftentimes that is a part of their journey. And so our behavior shows that, whether or not we admit it or not, our behavior shows well before we actually speak out of our mouths that something has happened to us.
Right. And my thing was too, coming out, was judgment.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I had to really get over. Was people, judging me about telling my story. And it's crazy because every time I even, I vendor did, or I even spoke somewhere, I would still think that people are looking at me differently. And my therapist was like, "Tamara, it's just you. That's you, because nobody's looking at you different." And I'm like, I can't tell. She was like, you ain't supposed to tell. Like, they're not looking at you different. She said, it's just, that's just you. It's just something that you're gonna have to overcome. She was like, your story is helping people. So nobody is looking, at you differently. Nobody's judging you. Again, nobody can tell your story, like you can tell your story. So
And I have to come back and correct myself because it was bothering me. I was like, okay, Lord, what was I trying to say? We suffer in silence. That's the phrase that I was looking for. We suffer in silence, but I've adapted that we suffer loudly through our actions. And so, and you're right. Sometimes we're more concerned about people looking at us differently, and they're just really appreciating the fact that we open our mouths to help
Mhm.
them in their journey.
Mhm.
So, that's why, we have to, when Holy Spirit prompts us to move forward, move forward.
Yeah.
Because, I often say that it's selfish not to be obedient, because if Holy Spirit is leading you to tell your journey, that means that He has people attached and you have an assignment
Mhm.
for to help people. And like you even attested to, after you posted on Facebook, how many people inboxed you and said that they had similar experiences.
Similar. I mean, their uncles, cousins. Like it's just, it was just amazing. I was amazed at how many
Mhm.
people, and a lot of people don't realize this, but 90%, it could be more, but of our abusers, we know them.
Absolutely.
It's your family, a close friend,
Hmm.
um, you know, it's your mom's boyfriend, somebody like that. And
Sometimes siblings.
sometimes siblings,
Yes.
yeah. So it's it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, I think we go through a lot of stuff just so we can help other people. It's testimony. And
Yes.
so I just want people to know that, me telling my testimony is just to help people. This is all God, because there's no way, no strength of mine at all that I'll be able to just walk around here and tell my story or tell it and, not be like, I'm not always okay, but I'm moving forward to, whenever I tell the story, when I leave out of here, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Going forward. So,
Yes, one of the things that, and you can confirm, I believe that when every time we share, that's a part of our therapy process as
process,
well.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it does help. It does help. And a lot of people ask me, every time I share, have you, you've gotten over this thing, and this is a process.
Oh,
It's no, it's not a, what they say, it's not a marathon, but it's a, what they say, the wording, I can't remember.
gosh, we both have our moments. I know.
right? But we just gotta take our time with this thing. Like it's not, you can't rush through any of this. Like we have to take our time when it comes to something like this.
Yes.
So um I'm getting there. And I love the journey that I'm on right now though. I do.
Absolutely. Well, you have to think that you're suppressed it most of your life.
Mhm.
And so for you to just get up and say, okay, I'm better now.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that unless you have and even unless you've experienced, you can't fully understand.
Mhm.
And even if you have experience, you still can't fully understand someone else's experience.
Right.
It's still
Right.
different.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, the now, when you talk about you speak up and speak out, being a nonprofit. So within this ministry, what do you do?
So what I'm looking to do
Okay.
is strap my boots up and hit the ground running. I want to be that advocate for other people, um, have like small group settings
Mhm.
and just different stuff like that. And that's what I'm building right now. Looking for, well, we have a place right now that we are um, fixing up, my husband and I, to turn it into where we come together, have group settings, be able to bring people together to where, they can, get help that, that they may need. I'm not saying I'm a therapist, but I can tell people, what I've learned from my therapist, what I've been through to get where I'm at today. And that's what I'm looking to do. I am going back to school now for psychology, which is under the Christian counseling though
Mhm.
session, and not to be able to diagnose anybody, but to be able to give them more than what I can give them now. So
Yeah.
that's my purpose with that as well. So I want people to know that Speak Up and Speak Out is a movement. It's not just me out here just saying something.
Absolutely.
This is definitely a movement, and anybody that want to join or be in it with me, that's been through any of this right here, they can join me. That's what I'm looking for. So, yeah.
So tell us about your books. I mean, the
So
affectionately named.
So we have Speak Up and Speak Out, from Silence to Strength. This is one. It's telling my story, but it's helping people journey through my story with me. I made it into a journal as well, only because I know that some people can't really talk about their story, but they can write about it. And so I have activities in here to help people, to recognize different triggers, because I have those. Um, and just things like that they can recognize themselves. I wrote a letter to my little girl, and so it's a page in here for people to do, to do the same thing. And so I just want people to journey through this with me, but also be able to express themselves while they take that journey along with me. So that's that. And then I turned around this year and wrote it's an actual journal. Speak Up and Speak Out. It's 60 days of affirmation. It's journal. It's a journal for survivors. And so and I made it this color because I wanted, when someone opened this book, I want them to have that warm feeling. I want them to be engaged with it. Like, it's calming, but also relaxing as they are journaling. And so every day you get an affirmation, and you also get a reflection, and then you can write as well. But I'm gonna gift these to you, because I always think that when you come to somebody's house, you're supposed to gift them or something, right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh gosh, and that's a blessing because I was gonna actually purchase them. So thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will read them and use them. Yes, because I believe that as I started out, I'm very passionate about this subject because of my own personal experience. And, even when I was laughing at different points, I said that we shared, some of the similarities, even when it came to, say, giving our yes. Even with Beautifully Reconstructed, I have it was formed because, of course, it was God founded it from the foundation of the earth, but it was formed in 2016, but it wasn't launched until 2017 because I still was fighting God and saying,
Right.
go to get somebody else to do that.
Why are we fighting like that?
I don't know. Because are we going to win? No. No. Not if you have a desire to surrender your will for His.
Right.
So. But so as we close out today's month, this has been very enlightening conversation. I appreciate you. I wanted to ask for questions about those who may have opposed, because I wanted to highlight the fact that even beyond some opposition, that it's important for you to do what God says, because everything that God does is intentional.
Right.
And our healing process, when we allow God to use us, is not only for us, it's for others. And God blesses us through our healing, being obedient, and furthers the process. Because I asked about earlier, is it therapeutic for you? Because I found that the more you talk about it, even when you're sharing, there may be something that, okay, well, Lord, okay, I get that now. Something clicks in that moment. So thank you so much for being so transparent. This ministry, we believe that transparency heals. So thank you so much for being so transparent with us today. If in closing, if there was something that could you leave us with words of wisdom, encouragement, anything that you want to say to those who you want to encourage?
I carry my cards around with me all the time. And I like to tell people, never underestimate the power of your voice, because your story can empower and create change. So I always tell people, I know it's hard to tell your story, but you never know what impact you may have on somebody. And so your story can help change somebody else's situation just by speaking up and speaking out.
Hmm.
So that's the
I love that. And I believe that sometimes it may not be in a setting like this or in a big platform, but maybe it's one on one. So, don't be, because I know for me, God, it was private at first.
Definitely private. Definitely private. And still when I, just rewinding back really quick, even when I was telling somebody about what I wanted to put on the front of the t-shirt, she was like, but what does it mean? And I was like, girl, I'll tell you later. I still
Oh,
didn't want to tell her.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So and it wasn't until, when I came out and she was like, wow. But then she had a lot of questions, which I didn't mind.
Yeah.
Because, me and her are like that. And so, and that's what I was trying to avoid, all the questions.
Good questions. Yeah.
So,
But
it's
those
okay now.
questions, right? It's okay now. Say, oh God, I brought you from. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. It was definitely a privilege and an honor to have you with
I
me.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all once again for joining us for Beautifully Reconstructed. Please remember that I am not, you are not, we are not inadequate. We are beautifully reconstructed. Until next time.
To transform and renew me now. Beautifully reconstructed. Beautifully reconstructed. I'm beautifully reconstructed.